topic is imagine if all authorities had one common clear language. And I have to start actually with a big question there is in actually what creates democracy. This is where we all have to start when we start thinking about clear writing, clear speaking and clarity. We live in a world today where all of us are actually spending more and more time in digital contexts, and this is what I am passionate about and have been working with for many, many years. I think that we more and more often hear the terms that the digitalization creates democracy. And that is, of course, a big part of it, but it is not completely true. In the same time that the digital society is growing, expanding, and technically getting more and more advanced, we also need to be aware that it can enable and lay the ground for democracy. But if somebody doesn't understand what to do, our new digital world can actually be excluding. So the current situation, and now I am referring to Sweden, is that people are queuing outside our libraries because they need help. In our public libraries, we have computers, and people actually turn there to get help with things they do not understand what to do. Because in the same time that we are actually creating digital environments, we are also putting a lot of responsibility on the individual to be able to manage their errands. And they are there. It could be due to language problems, that you are having that you have a second language, that you do not understand the context. You maybe do not understand the legal things said or the technical terms. Let's see. It could also be cognitive difficulties. The texts are too long. The words are too difficult. You need somebody to not only interpret the language itself, but actually the contents. And actually, and this is kind of humbling, and we have to be aware of this, that actually some people are having a lack of confidence to authorities as such. They are not sure that they will be getting the best of help. They are not sure that we are actually there to give them services. They might feel that we're controlling them. They're not sure they can rely on that we want their best. So we have to be truly aware of that here we can use clear writing and clear speaking as a true tool to reach out to the public. How will we manage this tomorrow? This is actually a question that I keep working on, and also in my world, I think I need to know that how can we harness all the talents we have in the society? Every single one of us, every single individual there are having exceptional powers and talents and all kinds of skills. We just need to know how to harness them. And that is actually, and then you can't almost today to speak about clear writing without talking about inclusion. We have to use clear writing not only to explain difficult things, but also explain difficult things in a manner that it actually concerns you and me and us. You need to feel that I am getting addressed according to the needs I have. As I said previously, the digitalization is a fact, and that is of course a good thing. It is great that we can do many things digitally, not like for mentioning that many of you are joining digitally today. It's a fantastic opportunity. But in some contexts, it also means that we're placing a great amount of responsibility on the individual. And I strongly believe that with a common language platform between authorities and why not even countries, we could create a platform where we could help each other, work on improving it and the language itself, and support across authorities in a much clearer way. And I keep coming back to this issue of what I feel is democratic and what a democratic society is. For me, truly by heart, I feel that it is democratic when individuals truly feel that they can take part in the conversation and contribute to society on their own terms. And there is one decisive factor that determines whether we help or hinder them. Is the information accessible? And there are many ways to look at it, but there is, for one, it's not only making hard works easier to understand, it's actually, especially in the digital context, you need to find the information. You need to see that you are in a web context, that do I actually find the information I need, or is it so difficult that you can't even find the topic or the sentence what you're looking for? So this, in my world, is actually step one in clear language when used in digital context. You need to find what you need to make your errand. Secondly, not at all prioritize the less important, but you need to understand what it says. Once you have found what you need to also understand it. And here I have to emphasize, you need to understand it according to your own needs. So if it's difficult to understand, it's not your fault. Somebody needs to use better, clear language. For us as citizens, we need to be able to demand this. And of course, as I said then, you need to be able to use it. So you need to find the information, understand the information, and lastly then be able to use it according to your own situation. So this is where we start coming into the topic of today, which I hope you will get some pointers out of. How can we in the public sector across borders work to achieve this in a smart and efficient way? Clear language cooperation, of course. This is like a really happy thing and a positive thing because I know that many of us, and especially in this room and all of you joining online today, we are aware of it, and I'm sure many of us are working on it in the best of possible ways. So what we need to do now is join forces. We need to start finding ways to do this even more together, not only in our specific authorities or countries, but how can we do this, reach out to each other over the country borders. In Sweden, it is, of course, it's a part of the law, so we can always rely on the law, actually, or the Language Act. So it says that everyone working at public authorities and in public affairs must express themselves in an understandable way. And language and clear language specifically are an indispensable key to harness individual strength. And this is actually the fundamental law of freedom of expression. And there, even the very first sentence says, the purpose of freedom of expression under this fundamental law is to secure the free exchange of opinion, free and comprehensive information, and freedom of artistic creation. And to make the content of this sentence true, we need to be able to express ourselves according to the needs we have. And there, what if we could have a common clear language, easy to understand, not just at our individual authorities, but between them and over organizational and country borders. And I do feel we can achieve this. I do feel that we can have the joint power of togetherness and work to this. So if we move from working on clear language, which I know I have many lovely expert colleagues here, and we are working hard and doing our best, if we can work moving even more forward to working together on it, we are for sure going to make enormous leaps forward, because I know we both want and can start working together. We need to find the perfect paths for this. Yeah, we need to find the conditions for this. And this is also something I usually bring up because I'm passionate about it. I sometimes hear that it is about helping or giving so it sounds like we're helping the weak with clear language. This is not true. This has always been about lifting people with strength. So for instance, if you think about dyslexia, this is a fairly known man, and he had dyslexia. And this is also what is, could we have found him today? Could he have made himself heard in a digital context? We cannot lose this. We have people from the autism spectrum, also fairly known. Leonardo da Vinci. And we have also from the autism spectrum a double Nobel Prize winner, Marie Curie. And this is also, we need to start finding ways, and we need to change the topic and the view of it that clear writing is for some that we are helping or making easier. We are not. We are of the bonus effect is that we are helping individuals, but we are actually making our entire society stronger because we can find our Marie Curies and our Einsteins. And I'm pausing just a couple of seconds with this picture, because this is what we as a society should be. We need them. We need these people, especially in times like these. We need to find our togetherness and joint venture and work together so that we can all bring to the table our best things. And this is actually the essence of it. We can't afford to use language that individuals do not understand. We really can't. We need everybody to join into our community and society on their own terms, and we need to feel that they can bring to the table new talents, new skills. We have people in fields where we just are screaming for labor power. So we need to make the world a place where everybody can attend and bring their talents. And then I think you know my answer to this, of course. Can clear language make a difference between helping or hindering? Of course. So imagine like this is a really specific example, but if you have an errand and you need to move between authorities. So imagine if instead you're feeling that you're going from authority A to B or country A to B, you can kind of have this really smooth experience. So you really don't even ever consider that you are doing something in different contexts. You're actually just following an errand and you're doing it after your own way. You recognize the words, you recognize the tone, you find everything in the same places. Every interaction follows through, so you never feel that you're changing context. This is providing a platform where you as an individual get to do what you need to do, and the rest is up to us in the public world to create actually the platform so you can do what you need to do in the best possible way. So in practical terms, do I have any suggestions on how we can do this? Actually, I do. We need to create an organization and a platform that ensure a coherent and consistent language experience. We need to create some sort of toolbox where we can where we actually pitch in, and there we create opportunities and also share experiences and keep it growing. So consistency is key. Why not have somebody ultimately responsible for only language issues? I know that when it comes to language, they are often paired up with either like cultural things, or we're talking immigration or integration, and this is really important and in every single way. But why not have somebody who's actually responsible for the language as a language itself? I think this would be amazing. And the organization draws up a common methodology, as I said, some type of toolbox that we're joining in on and agreeing on. And this should be scalable over time. The world is a place that changes constantly, not at least now in the times we're living in. So what is true today might not be true tomorrow. So we need to create a toolbox that could be actually inherited almost by our children to something that they can keep building on. And the biggest challenge today, each public authority in Sweden at least, we have their own trademarks, we have our own methodologies, and even if they're a corporation, I have many lovely colleagues on different authorities, we still have to find a way to create consistency between ourselves. We can do it being with one voice. And also in the last square here, it's really important for me to point out that without a context, clear language is just words. And I know it's painful to hear for all of us, but we need to have the aim that we're creating communication that is clear. We are creating an experience all over, and words and sentences are like not just separated from everything else. They are part of a design element or a technological application or something like that. So with clear language, we need to start thinking about it always as in a context. So, is it really even possible to bring all the public authorities together? I have to say that CW4EU has been doing a really lovely job. Here we are actually calling it, I'm using their website to just exemplify, and they're actually talking about a life journey. And this is for one country, but I can really see that we could join and do this over country borders. And I also feel that clear language could definitely grow outside the public arena. I mean, we could easily take it into like companies. We could create and demand things. We could actually become a part of the Consumer Protection Act. There are many, as said again, we're living in a digital world and a digital context. There are different companies that aren't always having the best of intentions. And they might have dark patterns, you know, that you're signing contracts and you're not even sure how that happened. Why not use clear language and making it actually a force? So you can demand from services that if you don't follow these kind of clear language rules, this contract doesn't apply. So I really feel we could give a clear language organization can grow even into the financial world. And I shortly touch also how we could treat people. Here I'm using Swedish as an example, but it could of course be whatever mother tongue. But I am also feeling that if we have at least a clear language focus from the beginning, translations will also become better and kind of have a higher quality, so the translations themselves are having like a clear language vision and base. And if we actually could use the same clear language across administrative boundaries, a translation might only need to be made once. which makes us spares us tons of time and lets us work strategically and work forward with that and put our forces where they are needed to. And this would also create a common link between authorities, as the word choices would be consistent. I am thinking that we could, like, as I mentioned earlier, the toolbox, we could actually create the toolbox where we decide on what terms to use, and then we stick to them. And in a way, we start building a better, clear language bank as we go. So we start from a point, not a point zero, but we start at a place and feel that we're building it and making it better as we go. This also, of course, at the individual creates recognition and makes them feel even more secure. So what are the benefits of well-functioning work on clear language? There are many of them, and I have pointed out a couple of them. As a society, we become stronger. Individuals can better contribute their unique strengths to society. Public services can use their services in a much more efficient and legally certain way. So this serves, of course, both us here today and future generations. And here are my key insights that I'd love to share with you, is that clear language cooperation saves resources. If we join forces, we can start working and making it effective. Clear language cooperation enhances the efficiency of work. It is not about working fast. It is about working on the right things and putting the effort on the right things. And clear language cooperation promotes a genuinely democratic society. When we constantly agree on things before we move forward, we are like building the democratic base as we go. And here, and we're coming to the end of my presentation, are my main conclusions. There are actually a couple of things that have worked with everything and always has worked, and I am sure they will keep working, being the key ingredients. First of all, you have to have the love for the task. You have to have the love for the task ahead. It is a lot of work, so you have to feel the love. You need to have the passion to have the thrive and being consistent in keeping this work. And the love for the task and passion for the work ahead comes down to actually one thing, and that is to the care for the individual and to care for the people around us. Relations, to build good relations, the joint power togetherness. I think I've been saying that like 5-6 times by now, but that is really the magic. That's where it happens. When we talk and join forces and and start working together, magic happens. And good governance. We need to make sure and find ways that what we do, the good efforts we put in, that it keeps living and that you kind of find a way so you can use it over time. So it both grows over time and that you have it governance so you feel that you have it there. So of course all of this comes down to that we don't miss the next Einstein. It's important in itself. But even more important, so that we find a way to harness the inner strength that I know and I am convinced that all of us have. Thank you so much.